foundation code, and he showed me what he was able to do, and I said, well, you know, this is amazing. If you can do this for hydrocarbons, why can't you do this for minerals? Because I'm more of the mineral side. And he said, we can, but we've just never had a trustworthy enough partner to calibrate and work on the code to have it work for the minerals. So a little bit of explanation on the basics. So everything on the periodic table has a specific vibration to it, right? Which has a certain frequency, right? Don't quote me on this, but it's like gold has 7.482 hertz, right? That's what it resonates at. That's what it vibrates at, right? All atoms vibrate. You vibrate, I vibrate. We all have our own signatures. All minerals, or anything on the periodic table also has its own signature. So the question is, and part of what we're using here is proprietary software to us, and some of the satellite technology is not proprietary. It's available to anybody that wants to basically lease satellite time. But again, you know, highly specialized stuff. You can't just be anybody and be able to, you know, get access to live streams from Maxar or Airbus, the major satellite providers. Although the industry is opening up greater and greater, there are more independent satellite companies that are coming online now. There's a lot in Silicon Valley, and in fact, one of our preferred partners is in Australia, and they 3D print their microsatellites. They call them box satellites now. They're not these big Hubble, you know, telescopes that they launched in the 70s and 80s. These are about as big as a microwave, and they have solar panels, and they send them up. And there's literally, as I'm sure you're well aware, Elon Musk and Starlink, you know, he's launching literally tens of thousands of satellites that traverse the Earth that will provide Wi-Fi internet connectivity to everyone, everywhere. So the technology has really advanced. So what we're using satellite time from historical Landsat existing satellites, and we're currently in the process of finalizing our own deal with an aerospace company to have our own proprietary dedicated satellites to this work. So somebody asked me earlier, you know, how long does it take you to do this? And it just depends. It varies from, we need the satellite passover, right, or the scan to capture using specific equipment on the satellite, like a spectrometer, the metadata that's coming from the vibration or the frequency that's in the ground. And then we basically take that data and we interpret it through our own proprietary algorithms that have been built over time and calibrated using real world examples. So they would find a target somewhere in the world, they would say, there's gold here, there's silver here. I would go fly or travel to wherever that area was. I would find it by GPS coordinates, and I would dig it up. And I would say, okay, we were off by 6 meters to longitude, we were off 4 meters to latitude, you know, and we would hone, and we would you know, curtail, and we would basically make it more and more precise. And so we've got it to the point now where it's very precise. Sometimes there's hiccups, sometimes there's always things, but for the most part, we can get on top of any target, 2D, two-dimensional that we want, pretty much anywhere in the world now. And it works for hydrocarbons, and it works for minerals. It really will work for anything on the periodic table. What we're focused on are the raw commodities, natural resources. Some of the other kind of branch benefits and other technology that we're entering into are like soil moisture content from the satellite for agricultural land. So we know when we're assessing new blocks of land whether or not it's, you know, it's rich soil farmland because of the moisture content. We can tell from pulling it from the spectrometer that are on the satellites. Make sense so far? Okay.
For soil, like, would you have to do tests throughout the year or throughout the growing season to know how moist it is?
Yeah, you want to continually do that because it'll change. That's right. I mean, something may be moist today, and a month from now it may be dry. But again, it's a tool to use. So everything that we do is somehow rooted or based in technology to give us that advantage, right? So I'm not going to bore you with the history of time, but obviously I'm old enough to have gone through the dot-com boom, right? And
What's that?
yeah, and I watched a lot of people make a lot of money off of technology. And again, I made a lot of people a lot of money off technology. Unfortunately, I wasn't in a position then to take advantage of that particular time and opportunity in the digital currency space. We were in a position to take advantage of that and apply some of our physical technologies to and marry it up to the digital currency revolution that's happening now. So just a little disclaimer, all digital currencies are encrypted. So calling it cryptocurrency is not hyper technically accurate, right? There are different flavors of ice cream when it comes to digital currencies, right? There are meme coins that are based on nothing. There are different tokenomics that govern different types of projects. We're unique in the sense that we use the blockchain to link physical commodity projects to a convertible virtual reward that can then be transferred into a convertible virtual currency. You with me? Because technically, when you mine your rewards, they go into your piggy bank, and then when they go into your piggy bank on DebtBox, you have to move them over into your wallet. That process turns it from a reward to a convertible currency. These are very minute things, but they're very important for regulatory reasons. So we don't sell investments, right? We sell technology. We sell software. We're a software sales company. That's what we do. Okay. Nobody controls how successful this will be. We have great influence over it, but it's decentralized to the point that once we put it in the system, it's out there in the ether and we can't pull it back. So again, I know you guys kind of understand all this, but I just want to restate it for anybody that doesn't. So again, what we saw, and again, I've been studying CVCs, convertible virtual currency, since 2012, right? I started paying attention to Bitcoin during 2014. I didn't understand it. I read the white paper. I've written white papers. I've written patents. I mean, I can read. So I learned it. Thought it was too volatile. All the things that everybody else said. So really, the Debt Council sat down and we really tried to come up with taking all the great attributes that Satoshi came up with and that Ether created, and dispense with the bad parts that they couldn't have foreseen, like the energy draw from an ASIC chip miner, and move that into the cloud, right? Virtual private servers, right? Little badge of honor that we like to call out is that, just recently Binance just announced that they're starting cloud mining, right? We were 13 months ahead of them. We were 13 months. That's our jam. So we were very proud of that. I think there'll be a story coming out at some point that calls that out, because again, this was a very hot contention within the Debt Council initially, because we didn't know how it would go, right? And again, nobody has a crystal ball, but we tried to set ourselves up for the best chance for success. So again, the virtual and the synthetic hash rate that goes with our model is unique to us. And now there's other people that are following us, right? And again, it's like following us, or they're coming up with their own model. Like, I can only speak to what we're doing. I can't speak to what other people are doing. But when you see Binance make an announcement like, oh, we're getting into the virtual, cloud mining business, digital mining business, it's like, hey, okay, we're going in the right direction, guys. That's a really good road sign. So it's fantastic. And then again, really what I'm about to show you is one of our core technologies. It's not our only core technology. We have several, but everything we do is rooted in technology. So if there's a technology out there that we can apply to any of these commodity generation businesses, trust me, we're on it. We'll find it, we'll apply it, we'll figure out how to make it work for us, to make us more efficient, better, cheaper, because that's our edge, right? This is what all the main tech, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Microsoft, Apple, is what these guys did, right? Is they took, Steve Jobs took the Walkman and put it into, a pod, right? Like, not that not that revolutionary now when you say it like that, but back then, I mean, that was the start of it all, right? Here we are, iPhones. You know, we're talking about Apple cars, we're talking about this, we're talking about that. And then just on the idea, I'm also an environmentalist. You know, I come from a family of earth movers, right? My grandfather founded one of the largest earth moving construction companies in Canada at one point in time, back in the 70s. And, you know, I grew up on heavy machinery, so I move, you know, cubic meters of earth. My father is a civil engineer, so I know how to move earth, right? That's what I do. Or that's what I was taught to do by my family business every summer. While all my friends were in Southern California surfing the waves and skateboarding in Venice Beach, I was up in Canada in Saskatoon building roads and dams and freeway approaches, and I hated it at the time. Now I thank my father for it because I'm a little older, a little wiser, and now I realize it was prepping me for this, right? So we have a lot of exciting things. I don't want to go too fast, so if at any point you don't understand something or you want me to stop, just tell me to stop, and I will. Please feel free to ask any questions. I'll try to be as thorough as possible and give you the idea. So I'll start showing you the stuff now, but I tell you a quick story. So roughly, you know, 4+ years ago, came back to Ghana. We had gotten to the point where we had perfected this technology to the point where we were ready to show it, you know, for prime time. And I sat down with I was lucky enough to get a meeting directly with the CEO of the Minerals Commission here. And these are the guys that control the permits to mine in this country, right? You have to go through them. So this is the CEO. This is the top guy at the top agency that does this. So if you want to do any business, you got to go through him. So I came here and I sat down and I told him what I could do. And he said, I don't believe you. He said, you know how many people have come in here and told me that they have this magic box that can show us where the gold is, and this, that, and the other, and the Chinese and the Russians, and blah, blah, blah. Not real. And I said, no, okay, great. I said, I'm a doer, right? I'm not a talker. I don't like to talk, although I can. But I want to show you, because I'm not here to give you a physics lesson or a science lesson. It wouldn't be appropriate. It would take way too long for me to try to do that. So let me just show you how it works. And if I show you how it works, then fair enough. And if I do it at my cost, then you have no reason to say no, right? So if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. I'm not crazy enough to come into a foreign country in Africa and lie to you, right? Because I'd like to go home to my family. And again, if I'm here and I'm lying to you, then, you know, I'm going to disappear, and that wouldn't be good. My wife would be very upset. Or at least I think she would be. Anyway, have to check the size of that life insurance policy. Yeah, exactly. She asked me about that on my last trip. When are we going to get this thing up? I'm like, yeah. You and your next husband will be very comfortable. So anyway, all jokes aside. So he said, okay. And I said, listen, just present me with 5 properties. Obviously, I won't know where they are. I wouldn't be able to do anything prior. Just show me. So they went over to the other side of the room. They picked 5 properties. They came back. And honestly, if I'm being honest, I picked the smallest one because I knew it was going to happen. I knew we were going to scan it. And I knew I was going to be able to show them where all the minerals were. And then they were going to go, okay, great. Now go dig it all up, right? We're not Newmont, right? We don't have an open checkbook. We can't operate on that level yet, right? We're striving to get there. But I knew that this was going to be a challenge. So honestly, the only reason why I picked that property was because it was the smallest by square footage, right? It was about 11.68 square kilometers, which is about 4.2 square miles, right? It's a very large area. It contains an entire village, probably population somewhere 25,000 people, right? So it's not small areas of land. These are vast stretches of land, and this was the smallest. Some of them were in the 150 to 160 square kilometers. So by comparison, 12 square kilometers is tiny compared to some of these other ones that they said. So we picked that one, and they said, why did you pick this one? I said, I basically made it up, right? I said, well, it's proximity to a craw, and it looks like it's flat, and I can get in there, and I didn't want to say it because I don't have the money to develop 160 square kilometer property because I knew it was going to happen. So we said, okay, and it turns out Newmont has the mine like within a stone's throw of that area, so it was just dumb luck. So I'm going to show you that. We scanned that in 48 hours, and this is what we found. Oh. Sorry, let me back up. I teed this up. I don't know, some of you guys may have been out to Nebraska and saw our oil well there. So I don't know if you've ever seen this, but this is the scan